All right, so here we go. But seriously, though, honestly, we are so blessed and honored to have among yet another Michelin star chef. I've never been in a conference where we have so many Michelin stars. So a round of applause for the people in the office, and also Arwen for putting this together. Hailing from Gwynedd, his culinary journey has taken him from the prestigious kitchens in Lanesborough in London, a Michelin-starred Chester Grover, earning his accolades in his own right across the UK. In 2016, he brought his incredible vision back home to the shores of Oxford Bay and opened a spectacular Michelin-starred beach house. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Hywel Griffith, Chef Hywel Griffith.
Good evening.
Yep.
Good afternoon, all. I know many of you would be disappointed that Marco is not with us today. And business is business, and most of you will understand that. He has a contract with P&O Cruises, and there is a 4-week cruise called the Food Heroes Tour, and there are 4 different chefs on 4 different weeks. And it's the 20th year of his contract, and they called him up. Unfortunately, he flew out on Friday and is back next Friday, and unfortunately he's not going to be here, and I'm not here to make any excuses for him whatsoever. In terms of that, he can make his own excuses. But I've got to tell you now, we have got a real star. Another Welsh chef, Hywel, who is not just the chef in his own Michelin star restaurant, and we'll go and talk a bit about this, but he's also the director of a couple of restaurants within a very forward-thinking business here in Wales. So another Michelin star chef, and we're going to be talking about his time on Great British Menu and his passion for Welsh food, etc. So Hywel, off you go, mate. Introduce your dish, mate.
Excellent. Thank you very much, everybody. Yeah, as Arwen said, I'm the director of 2 restaurants. My flagship is Beach House down in Oxwich, is just further down West Wales a little bit, and we've been open almost 10 years to the day, which is just remarkable, really. We gained a Michelin star, well, it's our 7th year this year, so we gained it quite quickly, and I think we're very fortunate to be where we are with the larder we have. So I've decided to cook you a lovely little quail dish today. So although the quail's not really local to us, everything else on the plate is either super local, from Wales, or foraged. We're going to use Wye Valley asparagus, we're going to use the spear, make a little bit of a puree, some sea buckthorn, and kind of 3-cornered leeks and wild garlic and all sorts. So yeah, we'll get cooking.
So Hywel, while you're doing that, and hopefully, you know, you can multitask at the same time and we can continue the conversation.
Yeah.
But tell the audience a little bit about your experiences on the Great British Menu and the themes. And I know that took a great time out of your life getting to that point.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge learning experience, really quite difficult. I don't think people kind of consider how much work and effort has to go into it. I'm just trying to work the induction as well here. Yeah, and it's all, the timeline's very tight on it, extremely tight. They keep the brief quite secret, so it's, you know, you don't get months or, you know, even that long really. It's only a handful of weeks to kind of come up with the whole idea. And it's a little bit difficult because you don't really know what they want. That's the reality of it. And they want you to be creative with the brief that they've given you. So it's kind of, you're trying to come up with this kind of theme and everything and the whole menu. And it's got to make sense. You know, how do you turn, I don't know, a novel into food, and the plate of food people have to look at it and think, oh, it's that novel, you know, without being gimmicky, which is something I really didn't want to be on there, because I think it was important to be true in how I delivered the cuisine, in how the restaurant is. I think so many chefs have been on that program and kind of over-delivered or delivered something that they really don't do, just to kind of, to try and win the competition, obviously. But obviously that then people are going to see the cuisine, see the food, and then they go to the restaurant and it's a little bit disjointed. That was how I saw the whole thing. I was very fortunate that I'd done a lot of Welsh TV work before, and I'd been under the camera and had to do retakes and stop and start and everything. And I think the biggest things that a lot of young chefs, when they go on there, they forget is, first and foremost, it's a TV program, and it's a TV program about cooking. And you have to keep that in the back of your mind. I'm not saying that the cooking's not important, because the show wouldn't exist without it, but it's a very different way of working. It's stop and start. You stood in the wings for 20 minutes, that becomes an hour and a half, and then it's all go, and all the deadlines you've got to try and get back, and then you're back and forth and everything, and some ingredients don't show up, some ingredients are late, you know. And the first time I did it, I got caught out a little bit there, but the second time I took everything. I drive a reasonably large car, and it was to the headliner. The car was absolutely jam-packed with things. I built my own props, the furnace in the second year and everything. I welded that completely myself. Everything we made, really. It was really good. Yeah.
So I'll let you get on with the cooking now and tell them a little bit about what you're doing, what the dish is. Does it feature on your menu currently? How much does it cost? What's the profit margin?
Sorry, can you ask that again? I'm trying to work the induction and do this. I have worked on an MKM before, but it was probably about 10 years ago, so I'm just learning my feet as we go here as well. So what was the question?
What was the question? Oh.
You asked me a question. I had no idea what you asked me because I was trying to work the oven.
All right. So the question is, the dish you're doing, does it feature on your menu?
This dish? Yeah, it's currently on the menu, yeah. So we run quite a tight menu, really, quite a small menu that changes quite often. So we have 3 starters, 3 mains, 3 desserts. We offer cheese course, cheese board, and all sorts. And then we do a 6 and 8 course, and we kind of, we use the dishes on the tasting. Sometimes we throw extra dishes in there just to kind of change it up a little bit. And we have a lot of regular customer base that come back time and time again. So it's great to use these kind of foraged ingredients and just kind of, they don't last long. You know, we get 7 weeks out of wild garlic. We get about 6 out of the 3-cornered leek and stuff like that. So it kind of forces my hand a little bit, really, to kind of keep it alive and keep the menu going. And I really enjoy the menu that way because it keeps it interesting. And when I get bored of a dish, I just change it. If I love a dish, we don't, year on year, we don't kind of redo the same dishes over and over again. We don't kind of, we don't keep a tight repertoire and pictures and replay stuff. We always want, not that we're chasing kind of gimmicks, but we cook from the heart there, really, you know, and whatever we want to put on, whatever we want to do, that's what we do. Yeah. So just roasted the quail off here, very traditional techniques here. We do use some modern techniques. We try not to use too much. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but it's good to know all of them, really, and it's good for the all the staff in there to be able to have kind of, you know, as much it is my job to run the restaurant, it's also my job to train the next generation, really, which I really come to enjoy now, and I really like bringing young chefs on, and they kind of, they learn the ropes and they go through every section. They kick and scream about pastry to begin with, a lot of them, but we get them through then. It's the best thing I've ever done, is to be able to get everybody to do every section. It's transformed how we operate, not just one restaurant, but multiple restaurants now. And then when people are off sick, people get married, deaths, you know, whatever, unfortunately, it's a part of life, really, you know, and to be able to be flexible send and move people. It's brilliant. It's more, you know, when you start out as a young chef, you think it's about cooking. And it is about cooking, don't get me wrong, but it's, you know, you come to run a restaurant, a business, it's about margins, it's about people, it's about balancing menus, it's about, you know, making sure suppliers and employees are paid, and you do all your due diligence and everything, and you know, it's a part. It's all a part of the big picture, really. So we've just got some batter in there. It's half flour, half corn flour. We put the corn flour in there because that really adds to crispy element of there. There's a bit of baking powder and some salt, and I've just charged it with 2 charges there. I'm just going to baste the quail as we go here.
So while Hywel cracks on with his cooking, I just want to explain, actually, there's a real reason why his restaurant's called The Beach, because it literally is on the beach. And he looks out, and there's his lobster fisherman.
Yeah.
Literally, he's just looking at him straight into the restaurant. That's with the beach. And the other restaurant, which is how far away, Hywel?
It's deceptive. The other restaurant is technically around the corner, but it's probably about an hour and a half by the time you've gone inland, round the estuary and around the other side. They're really quite close. You can't see one from the other because there's a big headland between us. But yeah, they're both right on the beach. Beach house ever so closer, but we're right on the high water mark, which is remarkable. And to have a nice summer's day there, where you can have a glass of wine on the terrace, have your lunch, go out on the beach afterwards.
And the same fisherman? The same fisherman for both?
Yeah, yes, same fisherman we use for both. We use some of the same butchers we use, same game dealers and stuff like that. So it's great to be able to support these small local businesses, and what you have then is that then they come for dinner. You know, they still have anniversaries and weddings and whatever, and they become a part of this lovely little ecosystem where I buy off them, they make a living, and they come to dinner with me, and I make a living as well, which is great, really.
So I'll let you crack on now, then I'll.
Yeah. I'm just going to gather a bit more of my ingredients here. So on the dish, we've got some roasted hazelnuts, which adds wonderful texture, nutty notes. We've got some 3-cornered leek and garlic oil. So all the trimmings, all the not so good stuff, we just blend them with some oil. It goes through a wet cloth, and then we obviously hang it, separate the water, spin all that out. Just give this a little wipe here. And then we trim the asparagus down. Can you see this? Yeah, trim the asparagus down, classic, modern kind of Michelin style, you could say, really. And then all the trimming goes into puree. So we just put them in a bag, we steam them. Goes into a pan, we dry the juice, and then it goes into the Paco jet, we freeze, and we spin that 3 times, and that's how you get this wonderful, smooth puree, which can be quite difficult with asparagus. And my idea with this, it was kind of like a little kind of slightly blushed warm salad, if you like. We all get excited about root vegetable end of the year because we've had some great stuff over summer. But then when it comes to kind of December, Jan, you get fed up of it. And we're quite lucky where the restaurant is. It's covered by, we're on a little peninsula, so there's water 3 sides of it. So the climate, things come quickly. Wild garlic becomes kind of end of Jan, start of Feb, which is remarkable. But also it kind of leaves us early as well. Then here we've just got a mousse. So we take all the thighs. We discard the legs because they're very sinewy. But the thighs, we take the skin off, we take the mousse off, take the meat off, we blend them up, a little bit of egg yolk and cream, bit of seasoning in there. So that's going to be the crispy fritter. So we really try to use as much of everything as we can, really, whether we buy, I bought a whole tuna last year, line caught from the south coast and stuff like that. So we use everything, really, the whole meat. We made a stock from the bones and everything like that, which is great. So it's a shame, because I wanted this dish to be a little salad type thing. I didn't want a kind of a thick jus type sauce on there, so that's why we decided for the oil and everything. I'm just waiting for these pans to come up to the boil here. Excuse me for 1 second. So yeah, the batter goes into the gun. It's aerated slightly. I just put 2 little charges in there. I'm just going to give it a little shake. I don't put any flour in there because I want it to I don't want it to be fully coated. I want it to be kind of mottled on the outside. I want it to be, yeah. It's just coming up to the boil. So you got a little emulsion here. All it is water, butter. There's quite a bit of salt in there, quite well seasoned. And the puree's there. The quails are just resting. Just going to give these a little baste again. It's very, very important for me in the restaurant that all the cuisine is quite natural and not too overworked. I don't think that is. Yeah, there's a lot of places that I've eaten out in the last few years that everything's kind of, yeah, in my opinion anyway, overworked, and you kind of lose the essence of the ingredient. And I think what we do in the restaurant really well is that it's fresh, it's in season, and it's local. That's the kind of 3 things that we try to really focus on. So it's just coming up to the boil here now. So I'm going to put the asparagus in. I'm only going to cook them about 3 minutes. I want a real nice bite on them. Wye Valley asparagus. Wye Valley is probably 12, 15 miles from here. It's just up the M50 there. It's a hugely successful local farm, and their asparagus is like nothing else. It's absolutely amazing. They're big, they're full, they're juicy, they're full of flavor, they're crispy. Yeah, they're marvelous, really. Right, onto the crispy leg. So the batter's there, you can just see it's falling off. You can see the corners because we didn't flour it. Struggling a bit here on the temperature. We'll give it a second. Where are we? No. There we go. It's coming up now. So we're just going to get rid of some of this stuff. So we got some sea buckthorn puree as well. So sea buckthorn is kind of mid to end of summer normally, but we preserved a lot last year. We just kind of cooked them down gently, made a light juice out of them really. So because there's not a great deal of larder really early on in the year, this dish, when it first went on, it went on with blood orange. So again, quite sour, slight bitter notes. And as the blood oranges ran out, we then went on to the sea buckthorn, which is what we're using now. Very tangy, very bitter, really nice. Because the salad's quite green, it's fresh, and it's something that contrasts it really well. There we go. So say the asparagus is just getting there now. So the 3-cornered leeks, again, these are foraged. I don't know if anybody's seen any of these before. Like a big chive, really, and they're triangle in shape. I don't know if you can see them. And then, obviously, wild garlic. This grows. The 3-cornered leeks are a little bit difficult to find. We have a few patches, but the wild garlic grows in absolute abundance around us. So it's great to use that. This year, I kind of changed direction a little bit with the wild garlic. Last year, we kind of made a cheese tortelloni, a Welsh cheese tortelloni, and made a sauce from the wild garlic, which was really nice. So we really, not try and reinvent, but because we have a lot of local regular guests, we really try to keep the menu fresh, not from dish to dish, but from season to season as well, and really, really focus on not replaying dishes over and over again. If we really love something, we'll redo it year on year, but generally speaking, try to keep it fresh and interesting for them. There we go. I think we can get rid of that. Right, we'll get these little mousses in now. So the asparagus is almost there. So we'll drop the 3-cornered leeks in. They take about 30 seconds. And then the wild garlic, they literally get dipped. dipped and straight in, straight out, really. In they go, we just move them about, and then they come straight out. If you leave them in there too long, they just go really horrible and mushy, really. 3 corner leeks, just wilted. We still want the shape. We still want the body of them. There we go. So we're just going to put the asparagus puree onto heat there. Just going to grab yellow board. There we go. The quails are rested nicely. They cook incredibly quick. I really like quail. I think we use partridge all winter, and then we move on to quail. The partridge is kind of shot in mid-Wales, so it's great to be able to use them. And then we move on to quail as the game season runs out, which is great to use. There we go. They just fry nicely. Right, the Seaberg thorn gel. There we go. Do little dots around the plate. I'm not a fan of dots, but for this one it kind of works because as you eat and as you go through the dish, you get little hits of sourness through it. Sit the asparagus in the middle. There we go. The asparagus puree. So again, we put the puree on there because I want to use the whole asparagus, you know. I don't want to discard the ends of it. Yeah, the very tip is fibrous, as we know, but there's a lot of, between that, what we use, and the very fibrous bit, there's a lot of asparagus to use. So we're just going to droop these 3-cornered leeks over here. About 4 of them, and then the wild garlic. We're just going to, again, we want to kind of keep them separate. It's easy, because when they're blanched, they kind of clump together, and it's important to separate them so you don't get one big mouthful of wild garlic in there. 4 little leaves there. Just turn them over. Then our roasted hazelnuts. So we just simply hazelnuts, peel blanched hazelnuts, a little bit of hazelnut oil. We roast them in the oven. Bit of salt on there. We're just going to drop these around the plate. Again, as you eat the plate, as you go through it, you're just going to get little crispy hazelnut, lovely texture, lovely nutty notes on it. These are just frying off nicely now. So I'm just going to take quail breast off the bone. So obviously the wishbone is out of them. These are all trimmed down nicely. Going to trim the gut cavity off the side. It can be a little bit bitter, so we just make sure we get rid of that. Tiny little bit of extra salt on the top there. And then we'll take our little crispy nuggets out. So they're super light, super crispy. Just get rid of that. I'm just going to take one of these, cut in half here, so they're like little pillows of quail thigh mousse, if you like. Quail breast goes in the middle. Then, of course, we have the 3-cornered leek and wild garlic oil. I did have the 3-cornered leek flowers on here as well, but we've just gone out of season. We've had some. I mean, we had a nice few weeks. We had some terrible rain, and then it was nice again, and then it was windy, so it's bashed them about a little bit. But yeah, that's the quail dish on the menu at the minute, with everything that's super local to the restaurant. On top, yeah. There we go.
Fantastic, Chef, fantastic. And we have President Chef Andy Cuthbert over to take a picture with you. Another round of applause for the chef coming in and being with us today.
No problem at all, no problem. Yeah, very good.